Welcome back to Shoe Leather Faith. My name's Robert McMillan, and we're dealing with issues of love within the marriage. And I hope that you'll stick with us through this series. It's going to go a bit. I'm making notes available to you, about 150 pages of notes, and I'll be making them available on my website in a short while. It'll be free to you. I want you to just get it and download it. I'm not going to ask you for your email address or any other information about you. Just go there and download it. Use it any way you can. It's laid out in an outline form, and I'm hoping that you'll use it for either your own study, your own use, a Bible study. You pastors, you can take it as resource material that you can build your own series on the family and marriage. Anything you can do. I want to make this stuff available. Today we're going to start on the plan of marriage. The plan of marriage. And there are 6 parts to God's plan for marriage that I've found. You may find more because you're probably brighter than me. But at least I've found 6 and I've written them down and I'm going to tell you about them. And you can always improve on that. And if you like this video, would you press the like button down below. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe to it, because that way I know that it's touching where people are at. The last thing I want to do is just waste my time and waste your time. But for you liking this video, if you like it, and subscribing to the channel, it gives me a direction to go. It helps me know that I'm touching and scratching where somebody's itching out there. Okay, so let's start with the plan of marriage. There's 6 parts to this plan of marriage. We'll cover 2 today. And a part of the plan, first of all, is marriage is a part of the creation. Picture yourself in the Garden of Eden. There's 2 naked people, or as we say here, in my hometown, naked. If there's 2 naked people and they're not ashamed of being naked, and it's a beautiful place. There are lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And not one of them is eating the other. So it's part of creation. But in that perfect environment, there's no government. You don't go to vote. You don't have to pay taxes. There's nothing but 2 naked people in a beautiful garden. And all they have to do is take care of that garden and fill the earth. They have dominion over everything. But even with that, God knew there was one thing he had to establish, and that was marriage. It's not good for man to be alone, so he created the woman, and she became his wife. And by the way, they never had a moment of singleness. As soon as they were created and brought together, they were married. And God did it. So they didn't date, they didn't court, they didn't meet up or hook up or anything, any of those other ups. In Genesis chapter 2, verses 22 to 24, then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Marriage is the only institution created by God prior to the fall. In a perfect environment with perfect people, God still saw the need for marriage. And what came out of that? The family. All other institutions created by God were a result of our sin, our fall. Government, Israel, the church, all of that is a result of the fall. Another part of the plan is that marriage is to be a lifetime commitment. It's not until we stop loving each other then we can get divorced and go our own way. You marry, you learn how to love each other, and you continue on until God takes one of you away, or both of you. In Romans chapter 7, verses 1 through 3, it says, do you not know, brethren, for I speak to those who know the law, that the law has dominion over a man as long as he lives? In other words, the day after I die, the government of this country can do whatever they want. They can assess a tax against me, you name it. I won't care, and it won't impact me in the least. But as long as I'm alive, I owe my soul to the company store. For the woman who has a husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he lives. But if her husband dies, she is released from the law of her husband. In other words, once he dies, she's single again. So then, while her husband lives, she marries another man, she will be called an adulteress. Why? Even if you get a divorce, it doesn't mean that your one flesh relationship has been severed. Now, I'm finishing up a book on recovering from divorce. It's called Limping from Peniel. And I'll make that available as soon as I finish it and get it all smoothed out. It'll be an ebook, and I'll probably make it free because I have a hard time charging people for something that they should be getting for free. That's just me. Anyway, but we'll cover the details of the two bonds of marriage, the legal bond that can be severed by a divorce, and the one flesh relationship or marriage bond that only God can sever. We'll deal with that there in detail, but not here. For the woman, verse 2 again, for the woman who has a husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he lives. But if the husband dies, she is released from the law of her husband. So then if, while her husband lives, she marries another man, she will be called an adulteress. Why? Because the original marriage bond is still established, even if she did get a divorce decree. But if her husband dies, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she has married another man. In our day, we have minimized the importance of our word. Commitments are meant to be broken as soon as they are no longer convenient or selfishly beneficial. If you don't think I'm telling the truth there, you just need to watch the news for about 20 minutes maximum. And you'll see people breaking their word moment by moment. When you spoke your vows at your wedding, you spoke them before God and in the presence of witnesses, and God expects those vows to be carried out. In Ecclesiastes 5 verse 4 it says, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you have vowed. If you made vows before God at your wedding, God's holding you to those vows. And he's not going to be too much interested in you telling him that, well, I just didn't love her anymore, or I didn't love him anymore, or I wanted something better, or it wasn't what I thought it'd be. So realize the importance of vows. When you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it. And Ecclesiastes 5:4, as I've read, it goes on and says, someone who breaks a vow, he's just a fool. So don't be a fool. Keep your vows. Work through it. God has a good plan for you if you keep that vow. Well, that's all we're going to deal with this morning. And I hope that you enjoyed this time. And would you please like this video if you liked it? If you have any comments or questions, put them down below. I'd love to hear from you. I want to know what your opinion is of some of the things I've shared. And also, would you subscribe to this channel? It gives me a better idea of how I'm reaching people on the other side of the camera lens that I can't talk to after church. So until then, God bless you. Pray for your marriage and pray for me, would you? That I would know how best to teach you from this book, the Bible, what you need to know to be successful in your marriage and within your family.